Family and friends gathered to honor a Kenner child tonight after a tragic crash led to his death. How he's being remembered.
As we were walking away, we heard the first shot, and I turned to see what was going on.
1 year ago, a sobering statistic as the nation hit 1,000 shootings in just 7 days. We take a look at the reality of gun violence.
We have a strengthening system in the Gulf of Mexico, but this weekend, most of us will notice not rain, but heat.
And with 1 week left in the state's legislative session, we look at some controversial bills being debated in these final days. This is the Eyewitness News at 10.
A teenager who had been on the run since yesterday has been caught. 17-year-old Curtis Tassin was being taken to the New Orleans Juvenile Justice Intervention Center when he escaped. This was his third escape. In 2021, he got out of the Swanson Center in Monroe. Then last year, he escaped from Bridge City.
Again, we have confirmed that he is back in custody tonight. Officials say he was found in Algiers in the 1700 block of Elizard Boulevard. He's now being taken back to the JJIC. And as you can see right here, we have a crew there waiting for his arrival. Now to another top story we're following tonight.
Tonight, friends and family said goodbye to a boy killed after an ice cream truck wrecked into his home.
Eleanor Tabone was there as the community gathered at his old soccer club to pay tribute.
As you can see, all the people that gathered here because of him, he was just a wonderful person.
Javier Adrian Flores was described as a wise boy with an old soul.
We have all kinds of emotions because it's been a rough 2 weeks.
The 12-year-old was killed after an ice cream truck crashed into his Kenner home. Javier fought with all his might, but he didn't make it. His family decided to donate his organs.
We laugh, we cry. It's just so sad what happened, but also we get closure and happiness that we know he's doing what he did. At the end, he did what he loved to do the most. It was help people.
The young boy loved soccer.
A little bit sad and still shocked for what happened.
Javier's coach recounts his passion for the game and the kind child he coached.
He was the type of player that is really quiet. He listened and he executed, and always willing to work and with a smile on his face.
Thursday, the Jambalaya Soccer Academy said goodbye to their teammate.
The Bible tells us that there's a third sky.
They presented Javier's parents with a plaque. And even though the grief hanged heavy in the air, each player showed their love to his family. White and gold balloons filled the Kenner sky as everyone said goodbye to Javier. Eleanor Tabone, Eyewitness News.
Kenner police say 71-year-old Mikel Mansour's charges have been upgraded to negligent homicide.
On the first day of hurricane season, we saw the formation of a tropical depression in the Gulf. It is the same system that we have been tracking since last week, and luckily it's still moving away from Louisiana. Let's check in with your local weather expert, meteorologist Alexandra Crandford with the latest.
Hey, Charisse, really quickly tonight as of 10 p.m., not that much has changed. It is still a tropical depression. Its winds still set at 35 miles per hour, just barely drifting to the south at this point. And you can see its location south of the Florida panhandle, and actually not too far from us, but we are not expecting big effects from this at all in the next couple of days. This is its forecast path. It is forecast to possibly very briefly become a tropical storm. This would happen either late tonight or early tomorrow, but it might stay a tropical storm for as little as well under 1 day or under 24 hours before it encounters some dry air and wind shear as it continues south and probably loses any status that it has as a tropical storm if it does reach that. I'll be back in a few minutes with what we can expect, which is not much, and what else is happening with our weather through the weekend.
It's the first day of Pride Month, and the Louisiana legislature has just advanced 2 bills centering around the LGBTQ community. We're looking closer in your breakdown. First, House Bill 81 is headed to the Senate floor after clearing committee Thursday. It would prohibit teachers from using any preferred names or pronouns for students that are not in line with their birth certificate unless parents fill out a form. Voices on both sides were loud.
Hardworking teachers have neither the time, energy, or mental stamina to play these dysfunctional mind games.
I know that Representative Cruz voted in favor of a bill that would have a 17-year-old be considered an adult if he commits a violent crime. But if that same 17-year-old is sitting inside of a classroom, the bill says that he's immature.
But if you thought that was contentious, House Bill 466, nicknamed the Don't Say Gay bill, took it to the next level. That bill would prohibit any teacher-led discussions regarding sexual orientation in K through 12 schools, plus prohibit teachers from using preferred pronouns for students. There are some things that are not clear, like whether teachers could have a photo of their family on their desk, or whether students could talk about their own families.
Topics related to sexual orientation or gender identity should be a prerogative of parents and families, not indoctrination by school personnel.
But there are a lot of people talking about this moment from Public Service Commissioner Devontae Lewis, the first openly gay elected state official.
I'm tired of people dictating who they like. I came before you earlier this year in redistricting, pleading the same thing. See me because I'm black. And this body said, no, we're not going to give you equal representation. And in this session, you come back and you're attacking me again.
Both bills will now head to the Senate floor. If passed, they'll go to the governor's desk. He's not said whether he'd veto either of these bills.
With just days to spare, the Senate has given final approval to a debt ceiling deal. The bill now goes to the president's desk. That is just before the Treasury Department said the government will run out of money. Now, this happened literally just moments ago, and we will keep you updated as it progresses.
Breaking tonight, New Orleans police are investigating a shooting in Treme. They say 2 men were shot around 8:20 this evening. A third man has been arrested. And shootings like that bring attention to a growing problem. Experts say gun violence has reached an epidemic.
It's why investigative reporters at our stations across the country wanted to take a deeper look at this problem. Tonight, Katie Moore takes us back to a year ago when a grandmother was shot at a high school graduation.
It's part of our series, 7 Days, 1,000 Shootings.
Good evening and thank you for shooting.
If it feels like we're telling you about gun violence every night on the news.
A lot of the time it feels like that to us too. Now to a shooting in Northeast Portland. Shootings on
not just here in New Orleans, but at our sister stations in cities across America. Shooting after shooting after shooting. The stories of lives lost, lives forever changed, just about every single night. We looked at 7 days of shooting data from the National Gun Violence Archive and found at this time last year, our country reached the sobering milestone of 1,000 shootings in 7 days. Augustine Greenwood was killed in one of them.
That should have been one of your proudest days.
Yes, because it was my son that graduated. It started out being a really great day.
Corey Lashley Jr. had just walked across the stage at Xavier University, diploma in hand, officially a proud graduate of Morris Jeff High School.
She was just really happy. On that day, she was really happy.
This snapshot, this moment, was one of the last moments that made sense that day.
As we were walking away, we heard the first shot, and I turned to see what was going on.
Court records reveal an argument between two of the graduates' families in the parking lot escalated when a 15-year-old pulled out a gun, accidentally shooting himself, leading to a volley of gunfire that ended with 3 people shot. One of them was a proud grandmother walking to her car.
And as I turned back, you could hear several more shots. And that's when I saw my mom laying there on the ground.
80-year-old Augustine Greenwood took a stray bullet across the parking lot.
Just sat there with her and held her until the ambulance came. It was really a quick response time because the mayor was the commencement speaker at the ceremony.
Our 2022 graduating class of Morris F. Jess.
Cantrell's speech won't be anyone's biggest memory of that day.
Now the memory of that graduation for every single kid and every single family that was there is forever tarnished by what happened there.
Yes.
That's devastating.
Yes, it is.
And Augustine will be missing from all their memories moving forward. A community garden without Augustine's careful hand. A niece's wedding who considered Augustine a best friend without Augustine present. Walks on the levee at her favorite spot, no longer taken. And like this past one, Thanksgivings without her cooking.
But it was hard for her not being there.
Gun violence at their graduation celebration forced the family into a second-line celebration for Augustine Greenwood's life too soon. Even more tragic, they weren't the only ones. We broke down data from the Gun Violence Archive and police records and discovered shots rang out in 40 places across Louisiana that week, starting in New Orleans, in Baton Rouge, Alexandria, Shreveport, and on from there. In that 1 week, 13 people died, and nearly half of those shootings happened in the city of New Orleans.
He broke the rear window, the front window, he shot the door. My dashboard, the steering wheel.
Including this one on Interstate 10. Police records from the shootings that week tell the stories of a girlfriend shot in the face by her boyfriend, brother shooting brother, teens shooting another teen, neighbor shooting neighbor. When you factor in our state's smaller population, Louisiana had 4 times the shooting rate of Texas, 8 times that of California. And in Louisiana, the ATF says the guns themselves are also a source of crime.
We are at around 1 million guns stolen across the country.
1 million guns stolen over a 4-year period. The agency documented it in this report on stolen guns used in crime.
It's a matter of firearms landing in the wrong hands, which is something that we constantly have to deal with from a law enforcement perspective.
The ATF estimates more than 7,000 guns are stolen on average every year in Louisiana, ranking our state 3rd highest in the country. And 95% of them are stolen from individual people, from their cars, from their houses. Spotswood says the bump in car break-ins is happening for that very reason.
But I've been in law enforcement for around 23 years, and I can tell you, when I first started, this wasn't an epidemic like it is now. And I think what's happening is they see a level of success, right? These juveniles are breaking into cars, and they're getting successful outcomes. They're finding guns.
The NOPD says 68% of stolen guns reported this year in New Orleans were taken in vehicle burglaries. It's unclear if any of the guns used in the Morris Jeff graduation shooting were stolen or if they were legally bought by people in those feuding families. Either way, Lashley says a high school graduation is no place for them.
It's very disheartening. You know, as parents, we want to protect our children. Sure. But as parents, you know, we should use our heads.
A thought planted that she hopes will grow like her mother's favorite garden, that shooting is not the answer before those gunshots fired in anger or fear hit more people in the heart. Katie Moore, Eyewitness News.
And to add to the violence, moments ago, we got word of a homicide in Broadmoor. It happened in the 3800 block of General Taylor. We're told a 30-year-old woman was shot and died at the scene. Police are there now investigating.
Fighting crime with sports. How a new community program hopes to keep kids off the streets by getting them on the court.
It's just a blessing to see him be able to walk the stage. Most people don't make it.
A teenager celebrating tonight after a cancer diagnosis tried to rob him of his future. Now he's an unlikely high school graduate.
First day of hurricane season, and there is a developing system in the Gulf of Mexico, but don't expect a lot of action here.
One of the top cornerbacks in Saints history has been inducted into the 2023 Saints Hall of Fame class.
Well, and then all of a sudden, God worked a miracle, and I got to walk the stage.
He was weak. He didn't want, but he did it. He did it, and we're here.
A Texas graduate is celebrating after he was able to walk the stage following a cancer diagnosis. LeBrian Perez was injured while playing football, and when he went to the doctor, they discovered leukemia. Since, the teen has been battling the illness while still attending classes online. His family and friends call him an inspiration, and now he plans to pursue nursing. Well, as we kick off summer, many young people will be out of school.
And city leaders are hoping to give them something fun to do in an effort to fight crime. Today, New Orleans police kicked off the Midnight Basketball program. Now, studies show that when kids and teens are involved in activities like sports, they have a deeper sense of belonging and better mental health.
You guys are part of this village, and we want you guys to be a part of making sure that we have opportunities for our youth, for our teens to do positive this summer.
This is just another piece of the puzzle that worked, that can work again. We just need more people to come to the table. We need more people to come participate so we can have more people to lean on.
Now, the program is an 8-week initiative. Really good idea here that officials hope can provide a safe environment to teach young people some positive values.
And this is something a lot of you seem to be really excited about. The grocery chain Trader Joe's is considering a location in New Orleans. Our partners at NOLA.com say it would be on Tulane next to the medical district. The property owner says they're starting the permitting process now. The company opened a store in Metairie in 2016 and one in Baton Rouge in 2013.
Exciting news. I'm going to have to make my way over there if it does happen. Looking at what's happening in our weather, we have Tropical Depression 2, and it is not a threat for us here in Louisiana or Mississippi. You can see the rain displaced from the general center, and today the hurricane hunters did find a closed circulation center with this system, and so that's why they upgraded it to a tropical depression. It is moving south, and it will be drifting this way thanks to some upper winds with an upper trough of low pressure along with the surface trough. So you can see that it may briefly become a tropical storm. Arlene, we will see if that happens. But either way, it looks like as it moves south, and I'm tracking it here with a model, it will probably begin to dwindle within the next couple of days. And then it will encounter not only dry air, but wind shear, and will probably not be much of a system as it moves south toward Cuba. It will bring rain to Florida, but we will also have high pressure here that will be more in control of our weather as we get into the weekend. Our rain forecast, you can see rain still expected where the system is right now over the Gulf and then also over in parts of Florida. But for us, the light green showing maybe 1/4 of an inch of rain at most. And I know a lot of us looking for rain, hoping for some rain perhaps, but we really don't have the highest rain chances for the next several days. We do have a chance each afternoon, but it will be very spotty. All we're expecting from the system is maybe a little wind through tomorrow, not very strong winds, just a bit of a breeze, maybe a few showers tomorrow, but actually it's looking mostly sunny, and I think it will be hard to come by tomorrow, any rain, and then a hot June weekend with some isolated rain. It is the first day of hurricane season, so just wanted you to see the names. If you have not seen them so far, it would be Arlene, then Brett, Cindy, Dawn, and Emily. And the forecast for the season, 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, of which 3 become major, category 3 or higher. Those are the average numbers just for an average season. And we're expecting pretty close to that sort of numbers. Now, this is early on, so this can change. Often we will see these numbers change as we get further into the season. But if you're wondering why about average, we have 2 big competing kind of things. El Nino could start soon. That does usually add wind shear and makes it hard for hurricanes to form. However, the Atlantic waters in spots are very warm. That would make it more likely that storms would form. So we will see in the next couple of months which one is dominant, and hopefully it's the El Nino, maybe making fewer storms. I think most of us would be okay with that. But yeah, we'll keep you updated, of course. 80 degrees in New Orleans. We do have 70s elsewhere. Our winds not very strong. Actually, the bit of a breeze might be tomorrow up to about 10 or 12 miles per hour. Radar pretty quiet. We are expecting mostly clear skies and an almost full moon tonight. You may have seen that. It looks great. North Shore and South Shore lows upper 60s to lower 70s. And tomorrow about 90 for the high. Not extremely humid because we have had mostly east or northeast winds. Slight chance for a stray shower tomorrow. And the weekend brings low 90s and about 20% chances for a couple of isolated storms. Very typical for early June.
The Baton Rouge versus New Orleans matchup will take place in less than 24 hours. Tulane and LSU will meet for a 2 o'clock first pitch Friday in Alec Bach Stadium. And this Tulane team is not the same group LSU faced back in April. After a down year during the regular season, the Green Wave had an unbelievable turnaround in the AAC tournament, winning the championship over the 1 seed. This is all after losing their head coach and players to the transfer portal. LSU head coach Jay Johnson is not taking this new look Tulane team lightly.
Yeah, it's not even the same. Yeah, I mean, I literally grabbed my folder, I threw it in the garbage, and just started watching, the last 2 weeks. And credit to them. They're very well coached. And again, I think I said this the other day, but massive hat tip. Like, they went through some massive adversity last year. I mean, we got a player at Ole Miss. I can't remember where the catcher transferred to, but they got gutted. And when you go through coaching changes now with the current dynamic, that's going to happen. And so for them to be playing today after all of that, massive respect and hat tip.
Over in Birmingham, the Southland Conference Tournament and regular season champs have made it to the NCAA regional site. Nichols will face host Alabama Friday at 6. The last time the Colonels faced the Crimson Tide was way back in 2016, falling 13-1. Nichols did have experience playing at an SEC ballpark this season, even beating LSU in Baton Rouge. Nichols head coach Mike Silva and senior outfielder Zane Washington give their thoughts on the matchup.
I mean, I've said it to everybody's ask. I think they're an Omaha caliber team. Really potent at the front end, the back end of the rotation, and then obviously older established position players that can really hurt you up and down the lineup. I don't think there's going to be, an easy out in the lineup. I don't think that there's going to be a pitch you can take off. And then offensively, we can't give away any at-bats. I mean, we're going to have our work cut out for us. We know how challenging that is, but we're proud to be here, and I'm excited to see our guys compete.
I mean, it's an SEC ballpark. It brings the same atmosphere that we had earlier in the season when we played at LSU. I mean, it's the same dimensions. Probably going to be a little heckling out there in right field, I'm sure. But, I mean, the atmosphere, I'm positive is going to be something that we're going to remember.
Looking forward to it. The newest member of the Saints Hall of Fame class was introduced Thursday at the Saints practice facility in Metairie. Former quarterback Jabari Greer has been inducted into the 2023 class. The Super Bowl 44 champ played 5 seasons with the Saints. He was joined by longtime videographers Bob Parkinson and Steve Peretti, who received the Fleur-de-Lis Award. Parkinson also worked right here at WWL TV for quite some time. Greer spent 10 years in the NFL, and while with the Saints, he recorded 9 interceptions and 57 passes defended. Greer received high praise from Dennis Allen after being inducted.
Man, he's the epitome of what it means to be a New Orleans Saint and the type of players and the type of people that we bring into this organization.
I think that there's no place that loves and that stays with their team, no matter good or bad, than the New Orleans Saints fans. And I believe that because of that, I was able to not only fall in love with the fan base, but fall in love with the city.
That's it for sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
So last month we told you about the resurgence of vinyl records.
Yeah, now that popularity is spanning species lines. A family of ducks took a shopping trip to Peaches Records on magazine.
I love this so much. The mama and her babies, they just said they walked right on in the front door yesterday and gave the staff a fun surprise, and we're not sure what they were looking for, but the guess is the birds.
Oh, very funny.
I did it.
That's adorable. I love that. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.
Have a great night. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.